He mocked his wife for not having a lawyer, but her quirks proved 2,847 lies. Today, this story isn't just about divorce. It's what happens when you mock someone for 5 years and discover that underestimating them was your biggest mistake. Charleston Courthouse, South Carolina, 9:05 in the morning. Patricia Hayes-Ashford was under the table, not metaphorically, literally, on all fours, on the courtroom floor. In front of the judge, her ex-husband, Charleston's most expensive lawyer, and a packed gallery of onlookers. All because of a paper clip. Found it! She emerged with her hair completely disheveled, 3 strands escaping from her bun, a speck of dust on her nose, and the clip triumphantly raised between her fingers. There were 3. 1 fell. Now there are 3 again. She placed the clip on the pile, adjusted it again, turned it 2 degrees to the left. Perfect. Trevor Ashford, her still husband for now, leaned toward his lawyer and whispered loud enough for the entire courtroom to hear. "Marcus, are you seeing this? She counts clips. Who counts clips?" Marcus Ford, South Carolina's most feared divorce attorney, with 87 wins in 89 cases, adjusted his $200 tie and smiled. "Your Honor, the opposing party talks to furniture." Trevor burst out laughing. That laugh Patricia knew well. The "you're pathetic and I love reminding you of it" laugh. Patricia looked at the table. She ran her hand across the dark wood surface. "Table," she whispered. "Are you mahogany? Oak, 1890? 1920? She tilted her head as if hearing an answer. "Oh, 1947. Post-war. Makes sense. Have you seen worse than this? Give me hope here." "She's talking to the table," Trevor pointed, red from laughing so hard. "Your Honor, look, she asked the table's age." Judge Martha Franklin, 62 years old, 20 years of experience, glasses on the tip of her nose, banged her gavel once, twice, 3 times. "Order." The courtroom fell silent. Partially. Trevor was still sobbing with laughter, wiping imaginary tears from his eyes. Marcus Ford organized papers with the air of someone who had already won. The gallery whispered. "And Patricia?" Patricia was counting. 3 green clips, 3 yellow clips, 3 red clips, all aligned at perfect 90-degree angles with the folder's edge. The green folder. The one nobody knew existed. 2,847 pages, 4 years of work, 4,380 hours of study. But nobody needed to know that. Yet. "Mrs. Hayes-Ashford," Judge Franklin's voice cut through the air like a knife through old butter. "It's 9:07. Your attorney has exactly 2 minutes to show up, or we'll begin without her." Patricia looked at the door. Nobody. She looked at the clock on the wall. Tick, tock, tick, tock, each second echoing like a death sentence. Trevor leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, wearing the smile of a shark that found a seal with a broken fin. "She doesn't have a lawyer, Your Honor." He didn't bother whispering this time. "I froze the accounts on Monday. Surprise, honey?" Patricia felt her hands shaking. "No, not now. Count something. 3 breaths, 6 breaths, 9. Her fingers gripped the table's edge. Her knuckles turned white. A tear rolled down. She wiped it. Quick, once, twice, 3 times, always 3. 1 minute, Mrs. Hayes-Ashford." Judge Franklin wasn't cruel, but she wasn't patient either. "If your legal representation doesn't appear in 60 seconds, the memory came without permission. Last winter, 4 degrees, 2 in the morning. Patricia outside her own house in pajamas, knocking on the door Trevor had locked by accident. Him at the window, smiling, waving, pretending he couldn't hear, and she counted 1, 2, 3. 43 minutes in the cold. She counted every one, because if she stopped counting, she'd go crazy, and if she went crazy, he won. He always won. 30 seconds. Patricia looked at the door again. Empty. She looked at the green folder, 2,847 pages. She looked at Trevor, who was already celebrating with Marcus, probably planning which champagne to open later. She looked at her own hands. Shaking, but still working. "You studied." The whisper was just for her. 4,380 hours. You memorized the entire federal rules of civil procedure. You know. Get up. Her legs didn't want to. Get up. Her knees protested. Get up. Patricia Hayes-Ashford stood up. Her legs were wobbly, her voice would shake. Her hair was a disaster, and there was a paper clip stuck to the sleeve of her vintage blazer that she had bought at a thrift store for $12. But she was standing. "Your Honor." Her voice came out thin, weak, almost inaudible. She cleared her throat. "Your Honor, better." Judge Franklin raised an eyebrow. Marcus Ford stopped organizing papers. Trevor stopped smiling. The entire courtroom stopped. I will represent myself. Silence. Absolute silence. The kind of silence that happens when someone says something so ridiculous, so completely out of touch with reality, that the universe needs a moment to process it. And then Trevor exploded. His laughter echoed off the century-old wooden walls of the courtroom. Loud, cruel, out of control. The kind of laugh he saved for when he was absolutely certain he had won. She's going to represent herself. He slammed the table, tears of laughter streaming down his artificially tanned face. Marcus, did you hear that? The woman who talks to chairs is going to play lawyer. Marcus Ford smiled politely. The smile of someone who had already calculated his victory fees. Mrs. Hayes-Ashford, with all due respect, pro se representation in divorce cases with assets of this magnitude is highly inadvisable. I know, Patricia adjusted her clips. 3, 6, 9, all perfect. But Ferretta versus California, 1975, guarantees my right to self-defense. You can deny it, Your Honor, but I can appeal. And I have time, 4 years of time, and folders, lots of folders. She pointed to the green folder, then to the yellow one beside it, then to the red one, then to the other 44 stacked on the cart next to the table. 47 folders, Your Honor, all organized. Modified Dewey Decimal System, color-coded by severity of evidence. Green is small lie, yellow is medium lie. Red is... She looked at Trevor. Red is what's going to ruin your life. Trevor's smile faltered, just for a second. But Patricia saw it, and for the first time in 5 years, she smiled back. Can we begin, Your Honor? I have 2,847 pages, and Trevor has. She looked at her ex-husband with almost genuine pity. Trevor has a $200 an hour lawyer who has no idea what's coming. Judge Franklin hid what might have been a smile behind her hand. Very well, Mrs. Hayes-Ashford. Pro se representation accepted. She banged the gavel. Let's begin. Trevor looked at Marcus. Marcus looked at the 47 folders. Patricia looked at the table. Thanks for the support. 1947 mahogany. You're gonna see a show. And the show was just beginning. Trevor was still laughing when Patricia opened her mouth to speak. The kind of laughter that echoes, that reverberates, that fills every corner of the courtroom with the absolute certainty that he had already won. He didn't hear the door open behind him. Nobody heard it. Your Honor, under Federal Rule 26b(1). Patricia began, voice steady, eyes on her papers. No, wait. 26b(1) parentheses matter. It's discovery proportional to the needs of the case considering. She was doing well. She was doing very well, until the green clip slipped and took the folder with it, and the folder took 3 other folders with it, and suddenly there were 2,847 pages flying through the courtroom like an explosion of extremely organized legal confetti. No, 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 no! Patricia dove to the floor, again, for the second time in 10 minutes. Your Honor, this is a circus, Trevor pointed, laughing. She can't even hold paper. Patricia, on all fours, frantically gathering sheets. Sorry, there are 2,847 pages. They need to be in order. Green with green, yellow with yellow, red with, that's red, back to the red pile. Marcus Ford crossed his arms. The Dewey Decimal System is for libraries, Mrs. Hayes-Ashford. Patricia emerged from the floor with her hair looking like a bird's nest during a hurricane. 3 sheets stuck to her blazer and an expression of insane triumph. And aren't courtrooms libraries of justice? Perfect metaphor. She pointed at Marcus. Thank you for helping me, Mr. Ford. You're great at making my arguments for me. The gallery stifled laughter. Judge Franklin pretended to cough. Trevor stopped laughing. Marcus, he whispered, is she making jokes? She doesn't make jokes. She organizes socks by texture. Patricia heard him. I also organize by texture, Trevor. And you know what else I organize? She slammed the reorganized folder on the table. Evidence. For 4 years, 3 hours a night, while you thought I was cataloging spices. Marcus Ford stood up, regaining his composure. Mrs. Hayes-Ashford, a simple question. Do you have a law degree? No. Marcus smiled. The victory smile. Then how do you intend to? Ferretta versus California, 1975, guarantees the right to self-defense. And knowledge doesn't require a degree, Mr. Ford. She opened the first folder. It requires 4,380 hours of study, which I have, documented, in a spreadsheet color-coded because I document everything. Marcus's smile faltered. Want to see? She didn't wait for an answer. January 2019, transfer of $50,000 from joint account to offshore account in the Cayman Islands. February, $75,000. March, $120,000 to LLC registered in Delaware with my name as CEO. She turned the page. Interesting detail. I had no idea I was CEO of anything. Surprise. Trevor went pale. April, $89,000. May, $142,000. June. How do you? Trevor swallowed hard. How do you know this? Patricia smiled. That smile he had never seen before. The smile of someone who kept a secret for 4 years and could finally tell it. Photographic memory, honey. I got it from my mother. Want me to continue? I have 45 more folders. I can speed up. Marcus turned to Trevor. White as paper. You didn't tell me about offshore accounts. I didn't. Cayman Islands, Trevor? The courtroom door opened. Everyone turned, and the air changed. Diana Hayes was standing in the entrance. Perfect white suit, short gray hair, posture of someone who commanded federal courtrooms for 30 years. 3 assistants behind her carrying boxes. Charleston's ice hammer had arrived. Marcus Ford turned green. Prosecutor Hayes? Diana didn't answer. Didn't look at him, didn't look at Trevor. Looked straight at Patricia, and Patricia froze. Mom, the whisper came out before she could hold it back. 8 years. 8 years. 2 months and 14 days since the last time they had spoken, since that conversation, that sentence. Patricia, you don't have the head for law. Marry him. Be happy. And Patricia had married, and hadn't been happy. And now she was in a courtroom proving she had more head for law than anyone imagined. Diana walked down the center aisle, but she didn't go to the defense table. She went to the gallery. She sat, crossed her legs, put her hands in her lap, and looked at her daughter. She blinked once. Their code, from childhood, from when Diana traveled for work and Patricia got scared. One blink meant, I'm here, you're not alone. One blink meant, I see you. Patricia felt her throat close up. Mom, Continue, daughter. Diana's voice was low, but every person in the courtroom heard it. You don't need me, but I came anyway. Trevor looked from one to the other. Wait. He pointed at Diana. That's your mother? Federal Prosecutor Diana Hayes is your mother? Patricia wiped away the tear that threatened to fall. Once, twice, 3 times. Yes. Why didn't you ever tell me? You never asked. She took a deep breath. 3 times. Looked at her mother in the gallery, then at Trevor. You were too busy calling me crazy to ask about my family. Marcus was panicking. Trevor, Diana Hayes has an 89% conviction rate in federal cases. If she's here. She's in the gallery, Marcus, just watching. Exactly. Marcus swallowed hard. She's watching. Do you understand what that means? Trevor didn't understand. Patricia understood. Diana Hayes, the prosecutor who destroyed the Valdez cartel in 1998, who put 3 corrupt senators in prison in 2004, who was called Ice Hammer in legal circles, was sitting in the gallery, watching her daughter fight alone, without intervening, because she didn't need to. Because Patricia didn't need rescuing, she needed a witness, Your Honor. Patricia turned to the judge, her voice finally steady. No tremor, no fear. Where was I before the dramatic interruption? Judge Franklin checked her notes, hiding a smile. Transfers to LLC in Delaware. Oh yes, thank you. Patricia opened the red folder. Let's talk about fraud, Your Honor. Specifically about how my husband created a shell company using my identity, laundered $2.3 million through it, and left a debt of $890,000 in my name with the IRS. Trevor stood up. That's a lie. Sit down, Trevor. Patricia didn't even look at him. You're going to want to be sitting for what comes next. In the gallery, Diana Hayes smiled. Small, almost imperceptible, but proud. For the first time in 8 years, the daughter she thought didn't have the head for law was about to destroy a man with 47 folders, photographic memory, and 0 patience left. Trevor sat down, and Patricia opened the next folder. Let's start at the beginning, Your Honor. January 2019, the day my husband decided I was too stupid to notice he was robbing me. She looked at Trevor. Spoiler, I noticed. Marcus Ford pulled Trevor by the arm and whispered urgently. She quoted case law from memory, Trevor. From memory. Do you understand how serious this is? Trevor adjusted his tie, still too confident for his own good. Marcus, relax. She's crazy. Talks to chairs. Counts paper clips. She probably memorized 6 legal terms to look smart. He smiled. I know this woman. She's gonna fall apart in 5 minutes. At the opposite table, Patricia wrestled with the projector remote control. Your Honor, I will present Evidence A, comparative handwriting analysis of the signatures. She pressed a button. I just need… Where is it? The screen lit up, and there appeared a photo of a tabby cat sleeping on a pile of legal documents. Wait, that's not it. Trevor burst into laughter. She brought a cat photo to court. Marcus, she brought a cat photo. Patricia pressed buttons frantically. No, Devin, you shouldn't be here yet. Your evidence G. Go back. The photo changed to a pie chart, then to an Excel spreadsheet, then to Devin again, this time wearing a bow tie. Why does Devin have two photos? I don't remember putting… Oh, that's from his birthday. 3 years old. We made cake. He didn't like it. Irrelevant. Focus. Judge Franklin removed her glasses and rubbed her eyes. Mrs. Hayes-Ashford, do you need technical assistance? No, I can do it. It's just… Another button. Found it. Finally, 2 signatures side by side on the screen. Patricia breathed with relief, fixed her hair that had become a mess during the battle with the remote control, and pointed to the screen. Left, my real signature. Right, the signature on the LLC documents that supposedly I created. She moved closer to the screen. Differences. My signature, left hand because I'm left-handed. Irregular pressure because I have anxiety and grip the pen with varying force. The P has a double loop, a characteristic I developed at 12 when I wanted to look sophisticated. She pointed to the other one. This signature, right hand, uniform pressure, single loop. It's also tilted to the right at 12 degrees. Mine tilts to the left at 8 degrees. Because again, I'm left-handed. She turned to Trevor. It's not me, it's you pretending to be me. And frankly, she tilted her head. Grade 3 out of 10. You need more practice. The gallery stifled laughter. Trevor turned red. My signature has personality, Patricia continued. Yours looks like Arial font, no soul. She looked directly at her ex-husband. Just like you. I have a soul. Patricia crossed her arms. Prove it quantitatively. Silence. Trevor opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing. Patricia nodded. That's what I thought. Marcus was flipping through the stacks of evidence with trembling fingers. Each page he turned showed more. Dates, transfers, documents. Everything meticulously organized. Trevor. His whisper was urgent. She documented everything. She was organizing things, Marcus. It's what she does. She organizes. Marcus grabbed his arm. She was organizing your arrest. In Patricia's mind, the memories came in flashes. Trevor at 3 a.m, hunched over the laptop while she slept, his fingers moving her pen, practicing. 1, 2, 3 times. Trevor registering the LLC while she made coffee in the kitchen, humming, suspecting nothing. Trevor transferring $120,000 while she restored a Victorian chair in the basement, talking to the wood about varnish and patience. Trevor buying properties in her name while she reorganized the closet for the 3rd time that week, trying to control something, anything in her own life. And her? She was documenting. Every receipt he left in his pocket, every statement he forgot to hide, every lie he told thinking she was too dumb to notice. Mrs. Hayes-Ashford? Judge Franklin's voice brought her back. May you continue? Patricia blinked, took a deep breath. 3 times. Yes, sorry, where was I? Forged signatures. Right. She opened another folder. Your Honor, in March 2019, I asked my husband about a transaction. My grandfather's car had been sold. $15,000. I wanted to know where the money was. Her voice trembled. And he said? The memory came whole. Trevor in the kitchen, smiling that condescending smile, his hand on her shoulder as if he were explaining basic math to a child. Investment, honey. You don't understand these things. And Patricia, 28 years old, exhausted, doubting herself, had nodded and said, okay, because he was right. She didn't understand. At least that's what she thought. But I did understand. Patricia's voice returned to the present, breaking at the edges. I always understood. I just believed I didn't understand, because he said so. She wiped away a tear, and said and said and said for 5 years, until I believed it. The courtroom was silent. You made me think I was stupid, Trevor, for 5 years. She looked directly at him. But you know what I actually was? Quiet. Pause. And quiet isn't stupid. Her chin lifted. Quiet is strategic. Trevor swallowed hard. Do you have proof of all this? Patricia smiled. That new smile, the smile he didn't know. Trevor, I have proof of the coffee you bought on July 14th, 2021. Double espresso. $4.75. Card ending in 8847. You said you were in a meeting, but the coffee shop is right next to a casino in Atlantic City. She opened the red folder. This is my favorite. You know why? Trevor didn't answer. Because this folder has the transfers to the Shell LLC, the restoration company that never restored anything, the clients that don't exist, the addresses that are empty parking lots. She placed the folder on the table with a dull thud. And most importantly, this folder has proof that you registered 6 properties in my name, without my consent, and left a debt of $890,000 with the IRS, under my Social Security number. Judge Franklin leaned forward. Mr. Ashford, is this true? Trevor looked at Marcus. Marcus looked at the ceiling. Patricia looked at the red folder. Your Honor, may I present the next evidence? It's about how my husband lost $340,000 in casinos while saying he was investing in startups. In the gallery, Diana Hayes smiled. Trevor sank into his chair. And Patricia opened the folder, because she had 46 folders remaining. 47 folders. Organized by color. Stacked like a tower of bad decisions that Trevor Ashford had made over the past 5 years. Patricia pointed to them like a teacher presenting the most disturbing science project in history. Hayes-Ashford filing system, Your Honor. Developed by me, tested by me, and about to destroy my ex-husband, also by me. Judge Franklin adjusted her glasses. Explain the system, Mrs. Hayes-Ashford. Gladly. Patricia picked up a green folder. Green? Little lies? Harmless? Like when he'd say, honey, you look beautiful, and I was in dirty pajamas with toothpaste on my chin. White lie. Doesn't count for divorce. She put the green folder aside. She picked up a yellow one. Yellow, medium lie, like, I'm working late, dear, but his phone GPS showed an Irish bar 25 miles from the office. She flipped through the pages. I have 847 of these, organized by month, day, and creativity level of the excuse. Trevor crossed his arms. This is invasion of privacy. No, it's marriage. Joint phone plan. I paid half. Technically, half of your GPS was mine. Marcus groaned softly. Patricia picked up the red folder. And read. She opened it. Red is federal fraud. The papers scattered. Again. No, not again. She dove to the floor for the 3rd time that day. The gallery barely reacted anymore. It was almost part of the show. Trevor rolled his eyes. Your Honor, how long are we going to? Found it. Patricia emerged triumphant. Crumpled papers in her hands. 2,847 pages. I counted 3 times, once for paranoia, twice for confirmation, 3 times because 3 is a perfect number. Marcus Ford watched her get up. You have paper in your hair. Patricia felt her head, found the paper, pulled it out. Static, winter, dry air, completely normal scientific phenomenon. She threw the paper on the table. Focus, Marcus. We're talking about your imminent defeat, not my hair. Priorities. Judge Franklin hid what definitely wasn't a smile. Continue, Mrs. Hayes-Ashford. Thank you, Your Honor. Patricia turned on the projector. This time without cat photos. Analysis results. Trevor Ashford is 73% red. The chart appeared on screen. A circle divided into colors. Red dominated. 73% of my husband's lies are classified as this will destroy your life. The other 27% are divided between this will irritate you moderately and this is pathetic but harmless. Trevor stood up. You can't quantify lies. I can. I did. It's on the chart. Patricia pointed. Math doesn't lie, Trevor, unlike you, who lies 73% of the time, in red. Marcus pulled Trevor back into his chair. Mrs. Hayes-Ashford, Marcus tried, regaining professional composure. Did you organize all this by yourself? No, Patricia smiled. Devin helped me. Devin? My cat. Silence. He's a great listener, terrible legal assistant, doesn't know how to use Excel, paws too big for the keys, but emotional support? She gave a thumbs up. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. The gallery laughed. Even Judge Franklin let out a sound that could have been a laugh. Trevor sank into his chair. Patricia changed the slide. A spreadsheet appeared. Dates, amounts, locations, everything documented. I started counting on March 14, 2021. Saturday, 39 degrees Fahrenheit, 11 at night. Her voice changed. Lower, more serious. Trevor locked me out of the house. The courtroom fell silent. I stood outside for 43 minutes, in pajamas, without a coat, knocking on the door while he pretended not to hear. She looked at Trevor, and I counted every minute, every second, because if I stopped counting, I would go crazy. And if I went crazy, pause. You would win. Trevor looked away, but that night I realized something. Patricia moved closer to the screen. If I can count 43 minutes of hypothermia, I can count years of abuse. She pointed to the spreadsheet. 2,847 documented lies, each one with date, time, context, and supporting evidence, organized by category, severity, and potential for legal destruction. Marcus was white as a sheet. This is impossible. No, it's partial hyperthymesia. Patricia looked at the gallery, at Diana. Superior autobiographical memory. I remember everything. Dates, numbers, conversations. I inherited it from my mother. Diana nodded once. Small, almost imperceptible. Continue, daughter. Patricia took a deep breath. Thank you, Mom. Focus. Back to the fraud. She changed the slide. Folder 12C. Her voice trembled. April 2020. Pandemic. My grandfather was in the hospital, alone. I couldn't say goodbye. A tear rolling down. He left an inheritance, $85 thousands, for me to start my business, Hayes Restoration. It was his dream. It was my dream. She showed the transfer document. Trevor said he invested it for me, that it would grow, that I didn't need to worry about money stuff. Her voice hardened, but he transferred everything, same day, to a Shell LLC, pocketed it, and I was left with nothing. The courtroom was in absolute silence. My grandfather died thinking he had helped me. Died smiling, thinking I was going to fulfill my dream. Patricia looked at Trevor. But you stole it. You even steal from the dead. Trevor opened his mouth. I can explain. You can't. Patricia cut him off. There's no explanation for stealing a widow's inheritance during a pandemic. There's no justification. There's just you. She closed the folder. You know what I did when I found out? Silence. I organized it in a red folder with 3 copies, one at home, one in the bank safe, one with my mother. She smiled, but there was no humor, and I waited for 2 years for this moment. She placed the folder on the table. It was worth the wait. Trevor swallowed hard. Marcus frantically flipped through documents, looking for anything he could use. And Patricia opened the next folder. Your Honor, now that we've established the pattern of behavior, may I present evidence of how my husband lost $340,000 gambling? She looked at Trevor. Spoiler, he said it was startup investment. The startup was a blackjack table, and it didn't give returns. Judge Franklin nodded. Proceed. And Patricia proceeded, because she had 43 folders remaining, and Trevor had 0 excuses that would work. Marcus Ford was sweating. Not the elegant sweat of someone who worked hard, the sweat of someone who realized the Titanic is sinking and he forgot his life jacket. 87 divorce wins in Charleston, unbeatable record, impeccable reputation. And now, a woman who talked to tables was destroying all of that with colored folders. Objection. Marcus stood up. Speculation. Patricia didn't even blink. Response. I have the receipt. She showed the paper. Date, amount, signature. Marcus sat down. Got up again. Objection. Hearsay. Response. It's his email. Patricia pointed at Trevor. Sent from his computer to his offshore account. It's not hearsay if it comes from the defendant himself. Federal Rule of Evidence 801D2, opposing party admission. She tilted her head. Want me to cite the subsections? I have time. And notes. Marcus opened his mouth, closed it. Objection? She can't. I can't what? Patricia crossed her arms. No more law than you? I can. I studied 4,380 hours. You relied on your diploma. Difference. Judge Franklin hit the gavel once, gently. Mr. Ford, sit down. Mrs. Hayes-Ashford is technically correct. Pause. Surprisingly, but she is. Patricia smiled. Thank you, Your Honor. Surprisingly is my favorite word of the day. I'm going to frame it. Marcus sank into his chair. Sweat was running down his temple. He pulled Trevor by the arm and whispered, We need a settlement. Now. No. Trevor? She's bluffing, Marcus. That's what she does. Organizes things and pretends she knows what she's doing. Marcus looked at the 47 folders, then at the spreadsheet projected on the screen, then at Judge Franklin, who was watching everything with growing interest. She's not bluffing. Patricia changed the slide. A map appeared on the screen. United States, East Coast highlighted, and 47 red dots concentrated in a single city. Your Honor, I present GPS tracking of Mr. Ashford's cell phone. Period, January 2021 to December 2022. Marcus groaned. Trevor went pale. Each red dot represents a day when my husband said he was in a work meeting. Patricia pointed to the cluster of dots. Actual location, Atlantic City. More specifically, casinos. Even more specifically, blackjack tables. Judge Franklin leaned forward. Mr. Ashford, Atlantic City is 300 miles from your office in Charleston. Trevor swallowed hard. Meetings outside the office. At casinos? Silence. Patricia projected the next slide. Bank statements. Numbers in red. Lots of numbers in red. Total lost in 18 months. $340,000. Money from the joint account, which he said was startup investment. She looked at Trevor with fake curiosity. Trevor, what was the name of that startup again? Blackjack Incorporated? 21 LLC? Lost everything and lied to my wife Inker? The gallery stifled laughter. Judge Franklin didn't hide her smile this time. Mr. Ashford, casinos are startups now. Trevor opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Nothing. Patricia nodded. It's a poverty startup, Your Honor. Very efficient. It turns family wealth into nothing in record time. Marcus was standing, flipping through stacks of evidence with trembling fingers. Each page he turned, it got worse. Trevor. The whisper was urgent, desperate. She has GPS from 2 years. Every day, every lie, documented. Marcus. She has emails, transfers, hotel receipts, photos. Photos? Patricia raised her hand. The photos are from his social media, Your Honor. He posted a selfie at the blackjack table, with location enabled, and hashtag investing in the future. She showed the screenshot. Trevor, smiling, chips in hand. Location, Harrah's Atlantic City. Technically, Patricia continued, he was investing in the casino's future. Very generous of him. Marcus dropped the papers. Enough. He stood up, straightened his suit, grabbed his briefcase, and looked at Judge Franklin with the expression of a man who just realized he got in the wrong car and ended up in the wrong state. Your Honor, under Model Rule of Professional Conduct 1.16, I need to withdraw from this case. The courtroom froze. Trevor turned around. What? Ethical conflict. Marcus didn't look at him. My client committed perjury. Today, in front of me, multiple times. And I can't. He took a deep breath. I'm not going to lose my license over this. Trevor grabbed his arm. You can't abandon me. I paid you $50,000. Marcus pulled his arm away. And you lied for $2.3 million. Simple math, Trevor. You're not worth my career. He turned to the judge. I apologize to the court for the inconvenience, and he left. His footsteps echoed in the silent courtroom. The door slammed, the sound reverberated, and Trevor Ashford was alone. At the defense table, no lawyer, no strategy, no way out. He looked around, at the whispering gallery, at Judge Franklin watching, at Diana Hayes smiling in the audience, at Patricia, who was standing, calm, with 43 folders still untouched. Being alone is hard, isn't it? Her voice was soft, almost gentle. I know. I lived like that for 5 years. Trevor swallowed hard. Patricia, we can talk? Now you want to talk? She laughed, without humor. For 5 years I tried to talk. For 5 years you said I was crazy, that I didn't understand, that I should trust you. She picked up the next folder. You know what I did during those 5 years? I studied, I documented, I organized, while you played blackjack and forged my signature. She opened the folder. So no, Trevor, we can't talk, but you can listen. Judge Franklin cleared her throat. Mr. Ashford, do you wish to continue without legal representation or request a postponement to hire a new attorney? Trevor looked at the 43 folders. At Patricia? At the door through which Marcus had fled. I need a lawyer. Patricia smiled. Good luck finding one who'll take your case after Marcus tells them why he quit. Judge Franklin banged her gavel. 1 hour recess. Mr. Ashford, I suggest you use the time wisely. The courtroom began to empty, and Trevor sat there, alone, staring at the table. Patricia walked past him on her way out. She stopped, leaned in. Mahogany table, Trevor, 1947, post-war. It's seen a lot. She whispered. But I think it's never seen anyone destroy themselves as completely as you're destroying yourself right now. And she left. Trevor kept staring at the table. The table didn't respond, but if it had, it probably would have agreed. 1 hour of recess. Trevor Ashford called 17 lawyers. 17 said no. The 18th one laughed and hung up. Now he was back in court, alone, sweating, about to defend himself against the woman he spent 5 years calling incapable. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Mr. Ashford, Judge Franklin adjusted her glasses. Do you confirm that you wish to proceed representing yourself? Trevor straightened his shoulders. Yes, Your Honor. I'm a businessman. I know how to express myself. Patricia whispered to the table. Mahogany, this is going to be good. Pay attention. Mrs. Hayes-Ashford, you may continue your presentation. With pleasure. Patricia activated the projector. Your Honor, I present a complete audit of Ashford Heritage Restoration LLC, company registered in Delaware, March 2019. The screen showed official documents, professional logo, elegant letterhead. Looks legitimate, doesn't it? Patricia smiled. CEO Patricia Hayes-Ashford, that's me. Surprise, I was CEO and didn't know it. Imagine my face when I found out. Trevor stood up. Objection. Judge Franklin sighed. Grounds? She's being sarcastic. Sarcasm is not grounds for objection, Mr. Ashford. Sit down. Trevor sat. Patricia continued. LLC's declared revenue between 2019 and 2023, $2.3 million. Impressive, right? For an antique furniture restoration company, that would be incredible. She changed the slide. Number of restorations completed, 0. Changed again. Number of employees, 0. And again, number of real clients, also 0. Trevor stood up again. That's a lie. The company had clients. Great, Patricia clapped her hands. Let's see one. Project number 47B, Heritage Oak Table. Client, Wellington Antiques. Service value, $45,000. She looked at Trevor. $45,000 for an oak table. Trevor, I've been restoring furniture for 12 years. Oak doesn't cost that much, unless it's from 1400, with King Henry's signature, autographed in gold. The gallery laughed, but let's check. Patricia picked up a paper. I called Wellington Antiques. Number disconnected. I sent a letter. It came back. Address doesn't exist. I went to check personally. She showed a photo on screen. An empty parking lot, weeds growing through the cracks, a brown stain on the asphalt. This is the LLC's office. Empty parking lot in Newark. That brown stain? Gum. Or motor oil. I didn't have it analyzed. Point is, it's not an office. Trevor jumped up. It's a modern business model. Virtual. Many companies operate like this. Patricia tilted her head. Virtual. Interesting. So the employees are virtual? The restorations are virtual? The clients are virtual? Pause. The money is... No, wait. The money is real. Very real. It just went into your pockets. Interesting modern model. Mrs. Hayes-Ashford, Judge Franklin interrupted. Sarcasm is a survival mechanism, Your Honor. Sorry. Family trait. My mother's like that too. She looked at Diana in the gallery. Aren't you, Mom? Diana waved. Guilty. Anyway. Patricia changed the slide. Continuing. Fraud. The screen showed an official letter. IRS logo. Red letters. This letter arrived at my house last week. I'll read it. Dear Mrs. Hayes-Ashford, you owe $890,000 in back taxes regarding Ashford Heritage Restoration LLC. Her voice trembled. I read it 3 times. I didn't understand. I didn't have an LLC. She took a deep breath. I called the IRS. I was on hold for 47 minutes. I counted every one. And when they finally answered, they said, Ma'am, you've been CEO of this company since 2019. She looked at Trevor. I didn't know. 4 years. CEO of a shell company. My name, my social security number, my signature forged, and I had no idea. Judge Franklin leaned forward. Mr. Ashford, is this true? Silence. Mr. Ashford? More silence. Patricia nodded. His silence is eloquent, Your Honor. In legal terms, we call this consciousness of guilt. You can look it up. She projected another document. Seizure order. Execution date, April 11th, 3 days from now. Her voice broke. They were going to take my house, my workshop, everything I built, for a debt that I didn't make. The courtroom was silent. You know what's interesting? Patricia wiped away a tear. No. Interesting isn't the word. Tragic. Trevor created this LLC on March 16th, 2019. Pause. 2 days after I asked for divorce, for the first time, she looked at him. I changed my mind. You cried, promised to change. I believed you. And while I was believing, you were registering a shell company in my name. Her voice hardened. You created this as insurance, didn't you? If I tried to leave again, you'd destroy me. Debt in my name, fraud with my social security number. I'd go to jail, or bankruptcy, or both, and you'd be free. Trevor finally spoke. Patricia, it wasn't like that. It wasn't? She opened another folder. Then explain this email. March 17th, 2019. You to your accountant. Register everything in her name. If it goes wrong, she takes the fall. Stupid woman won't even notice. She showed it on screen. The words glowed cruel. Stupid woman won't even notice. Patricia repeated, You wrote that, about me, to another person, while sleeping next to me. A tear rolled down. You planned it. It wasn't impulse. It wasn't a mistake, it was strategy. You spent years building my destruction while I thought I was building our marriage. Her voice broke completely. Who does that? Who spends years planning to destroy someone? Silence. Who plans to destroy someone they supposedly love? Trevor opened his mouth, closed it. Nothing. Patricia nodded slowly. Oh, of course, you never loved me. She wiped her face, 3 times, always 3. I forgot, sorry, next evidence. Judge Franklin raised her hand. Mrs. Hayes-Ashford, do you need a moment? Patricia took a deep breath. No, Your Honor, thank you. I waited 4 years for this moment. I won't waste it with emotional breaks. She organized the papers. Besides, I still have 38 folders, and Trevor has... She looked at her ex-husband. Trevor has the expression of someone who just realized federal prison has terrible decorating. The gallery stifled nervous laughter. Trevor sank into his chair, and Patricia opened the next folder. Your Honor, now we're going to talk about my grandfather's inheritance, $85,000, that Trevor said he invested for me. She looked at him. Spoiler, he invested in himself. The folder Patricia was holding was different from the others. It wasn't green, yellow, or red. It was blue, faded blue, with coffee stains, and a handwritten label, Grandpa. Trevor looked at that folder like someone looking at a snake about to strike. He was right to be afraid. Your Honor, I'm going to present evidence of Mr. Ashford's financial management. Patricia opened the blue folder with almost reverent care. He liked to say he handled the finances because I didn't understand these things. She projected a spreadsheet on the screen. Here's his management. Line 47, startup investment. Amount $50,000. She looked at Trevor. Do you know what the startup was, Trevor? Silence. Atlantic City Casino. Blackjack table, number 7. Tuesday, October 15th, 2021. Trevor's eyes widened. How do you know the table? Because you posted a photo on social media. Patricia showed the screenshot. With location turned on, and hashtag lucky number 7, you're a very bad criminal with technology. The gallery burst into laughter. Trevor frantically grabbed his phone. Wait, I can explain. What are you doing? Judge Franklin leaned forward. He's deleting his social media live, Your Honor. Patricia didn't even turn around. Too late, Trevor. I already saved everything. 3 copies, cloud, external hard drive, and a USB that's... She searched her pockets. Somewhere. I brought 4 USBs. I don't remember which is which, but I have them all. They're organized by color. Blue is social media, or is it green? Doesn't matter. I have them. Mrs. Hayes-Ashford, the judge sighed. How many storage devices did you bring? 17, Your Honor, including a floppy disk, for nostalgia and paranoia, mostly paranoia. The gallery laughed again. Patricia took a deep breath. The next part wouldn't be funny. Besides casinos, she took a document from the blue folder, yellowed paper, shaky handwriting. Trevor also managed other things. Her voice changed. Lower, heavier. This is my grandfather's will, written 3 days before he passed, hospital, pandemic, alone. I couldn't say goodbye. The courtroom fell silent. Patricia read, voice trembling. For my Patty, $85,000 for Hayes Restoration Workshop. You are always better than me with furniture. Make it beautiful. Signed, Grandpa. Tears flowing. He wanted me to open a workshop. It was his dream. It was my dream, and he saved money his whole life to help me. She showed a bank statement. Inheritance deposited. April 15th, 2020. $85,000. 6 hours later. She pointed to another line. Transferred to Ashford Heritage Restoration LLC. $85,000, same day. She looked at Trevor. You waited for my grandfather to pass and stole. Trevor stood up. I invested to get returns, so she'd have more. Returns? Patricia laughed without humor. The LLC had no employees, no clients, not even a real address. What returns did you expect from an empty parking lot in Newark? I was building. You were stealing. Patricia's voice cracked. My grandfather died thinking he had helped me. Died in peace, thinking I was going to fulfill our dream, and you took every cent, on the same day. Judge Franklin was pale. Mr. Ashford, do you have anything to say? Trevor opened his mouth, closed it. Patricia didn't wait. But that wasn't all. She took out more documents. Trevor also canceled my health insurance, without telling me. I found out when I went to the doctor and the card was declined. She showed the cancellation letter. Date, June 2021. Stated reason, reducing family costs. She looked at Trevor. You spent $50,000 on blackjack that same month, but my health insurance was too expensive, the gallery murmured. And there's more. Another folder. My grandmother's jewelry, family inheritance, 4 generations. Trevor sold it, without telling me. She showed the pawnshop receipt, my great-grandmother's engagement ring, $200, grandma's pearl necklace, $150, Art Deco earrings, $75. Her voice hardened. Total, $425, for pieces worth at least $15,000. But you needed quick cash for the casino, didn't you? Trevor was red-faced. I managed the finances. It was my right. Right? Patricia slammed the folder on the table. You didn't manage finances. You managed my destruction. Piece by piece, jewel by jewel, dream by dream. She took a deep breath. 3 times. Always 3. You know what's worse? Her voice cracked. It's not the money. Money I can get back. It's that my grandfather, he had Alzheimer's. In his final months, he forgot everything. Everything. But you know what he remembered? A tear rolling down. The shop. Every day he asked, Patty, are you going to open the shop? And I'd say, I will, Grandpa. With your help, I will. And he'd smile. A sob. He died smiling, Your Honor, thinking he had saved me, thinking I was going to fulfill our dream. She looked at Trevor with something beyond anger, something cold. Final. But Trevor stole it, and I spent 3 years unable to do the one thing my grandfather wanted me to do. The courtroom was in absolute silence. You stole money, Trevor. But that wasn't all. Her voice was a cutting whisper. You stole my goodbye. You stole my grandfather's peace. You stole his memory. You stole 3 years of my life trying to understand why I could never save enough money. She closed the blue folder. You stole everything and made it seem like it was my fault, that I was incompetent, that I didn't understand finances. Trevor sank in his chair. Patricia, No. She raised her hand. You have nothing to say that I want to hear. Not anymore. Judge Franklin cleared her throat. When she spoke, her voice was strangely hoarse. Mr. Ashford, in 20 years of practice, I've seen a lot, but this. She shook her head. Mrs. Hayes-Ashford, you may continue. Patricia nodded. Thank you, Your Honor. I have 35 more folders, but I think the next one will be everyone's favorite. She looked at Trevor. It's the folder where you confess, in court, in front of witnesses, without realizing what you're doing. Trevor went pale. I'm not going to confess anything. Patricia smiled. You already confessed, Trevor. You just haven't realized it yet. But when I ask the right questions... She opened the red folder. You'll realize. And Trevor, for the first time, looked genuinely terrified. Patricia Hayes-Ashford returned from recess with eyes still red, but the posture of a general about to deliver the final blow. She arranged the paper clips. 3, 6, 9. She took a deep breath and smiled. Trevor should have run when he saw that smile. Your Honor, I'd like to call Mr. Trevor Ashford to the witness stand. Trevor stood up. He adjusted his tie. He walked to the stand with the confidence of someone who still didn't understand he was lost. Fatal mistake. Mr. Ashford, Patricia began, casually, how many properties do you own? 2. Trevor smiled. The house in Charleston and the apartment in Florida. 2. Patricia nodded. Interesting, because according to the county property records, she opened a folder. It's 8. Trevor's smile faltered. 8 properties, 6 registered in my name, without my knowledge, without my consent. She showed documents. House in Savannah, apartment in Miami, 3 lots in Delaware, and a barn in Vermont? The barn was an investment. Investment in what? Imaginary cows? Patricia shook her head. Doesn't matter. The point is, 6 properties in my name, with my signature. She showed the registration documents. Does this signature look familiar, Mr. Ashford? Trevor looked. He swallowed hard. You signed it. I signed it? Patricia tilted her head. With my right hand, because I'm left-handed. Remember? Or did you forget while you were forging? I didn't. I analyzed it, Trevor, with a magnifying glass and a ruler and a protractor. Judge Franklin interrupted. You used a protractor? Angle of inclination, Your Honor. Very important. Patricia gestured enthusiastically. My signature leans 8 degrees to the left. This one leans 12 degrees to the right. That's a 20-degree difference. That's practically another handwriting hemisphere. Handwriting? Hemisphere? I just made that up. But it makes sense. Point is, it's not me. Trevor crossed his arms. I had the right to manage family assets. Family assets. Patricia savored the words. Interesting term for things you stole. I didn't steal. I invested. Invested, she nodded. In casino, blackjack, cards, that you lose, because the house edge is 0.5%, but you're so incompetent that you lost $340,000 anyway. That's almost impressive. Negatively impressive, but still. Trevor turned red. I had bad luck. No, you had math, and math doesn't lie. She pointed to the documents. Like your forged signature. Also doesn't lie. 12 degrees, Trevor. 12. Everything I did was for US. Trevor stood up from the bench. For our future. Our future. Patricia remained calm, ice cold. You created shell LLCs, forged my signature, laundered $2.3 million, stole my grandfather's inheritance, locked me out of the house 17 times. You counted. 17 times, Trevor. Of course I counted. I count everything. She took a step forward. And all of this was for us? Trevor pointed at her. You didn't understand. You are... He stopped. Patricia waited. Finish it. Her voice was soft, dangerous. I am what? The courtroom held its breath. Trevor exploded. Crazy. You're crazy. You count everything. Talk to chairs. Organize socks by texture. You need help. Mr. Ashford. Judge Franklin tried to intervene. No. Trevor was out of control. Red, spitting words. She can't even organize her own life. Look at her. Look. Always counting, always lining up, always talking to furniture. How is a person like that going to manage money? Silence. Complete silence. Judge Franklin slowly removed her glasses. Mr. Ashford. Her voice was ice. You just admitted under oath that you forged your wife's signatures using her supposed mental incapacity as justification? Trevor froze. The color drained from his face. That's not what I... Because that's exactly what I heard. The judge turned to the stenographer. Is it on record? Every word, Your Honor. Trevor looked around, at the shocked gallery, at Diana Hayes smiling in the audience, at Patricia, who remained motionless. I didn't mean, yes, you did. Patricia finally moved. She walked until she was face to face with him. You meant every word, because that's what you always believed, that I was crazy, incapable, easy to fool. Tears ran down her face, but her voice didn't tremble. You're right about one thing, Trevor. I count. I always counted. She took a deep breath. You know why? He didn't answer. Because when you locked me out for the first time, I counted 43 minutes in the cold, so I wouldn't actually go insane. She wiped the tear. Once, twice, 3 times. When you yelled at me for reorganizing the closet, I counted 3 breaths, so I wouldn't cry in front of you, so I wouldn't give you that satisfaction. Her voice grew stronger. When you stole my grandfather's inheritance, I counted every penny, every transfer, every lie, to have evidence for this moment. She looked directly into his eyes. You called me crazy for 5 years, and I believed it. For 6 months, I believed something was wrong with me, that I was the problem. Pause. Then I stopped believing, and I started counting your lies. 2,847, all documented, with date, time, evidence. She took a step back. And now you confessed, in court, in front of a federal judge, that you used my supposed craziness as justification to defraud me. She smiled. There was no warmth in the smile, no forgiveness. Thank you, Trevor. That was exactly what I needed. Trevor collapsed in the witness chair. Judge Franklin banged her gavel. Mr. Ashford, you are excused, and I strongly advise you to remain silent for the rest of these proceedings. She looked at him over her glasses. Every word you say makes your situation worse. Considerably. Trevor stumbled back to his table, alone, destroyed. Patricia organized her folders, 3 perfect stacks. Your Honor, I have more evidence to present, but I think the court already has a clear picture of Mr. Ashford's character. Judge Franklin nodded. I agree, Mrs. Hayes-Ashford. Let's adjourn today's session and reconvene tomorrow for the decision. She banged the gavel. Court dismissed. Everyone stood up, except Trevor, who sat there, staring at nothing, finally understanding he had just destroyed himself. Diana Hayes came down from the gallery and stopped beside Patricia. You didn't need me. No. Patricia looked at her mother. But you came anyway. Diana smiled. Always. From now on, always. And for the first time in 8 years, Patricia believed. But the story wasn't over yet, because tomorrow would bring the sentence. And Trevor Ashford still had no idea how big the storm was that was coming. The next day dawned gray in Charleston. Trevor Ashford entered the courthouse with deep circles under his eyes, wrinkled suit, and the expression of someone who hadn't slept a minute. Patricia walked in with a clean blazer, organized folders, and the smile of someone who slept like a baby. Judge Franklin walked in with a thick folder and the energy of someone who was about to make someone's day very, very bad. All rise. Everyone rose. Please be seated. Everyone sat. The judge opened the folder, adjusted her glasses, and began. After complete analysis of the evidence presented, this court issues the following temporary decision in the case Hayes-Ashford versus Ashford. Trevor straightened up in his chair. Maybe there was still hope. There wasn't. All assets of Mr. Trevor Ashford are, as of this moment, frozen. Trevor went pale. The main residence in Charleston, as well as the 6 properties fraudulently registered in the name of Mrs. Hayes-Ashford, are immediately transferred to her. But I'm not finished, Mr. Ashford. The judge didn't even look up. You will have 48 hours to vacate the residence. You may take only personal belongings. Clothes. Pause. CLOTES. Trevor stood up. But my Rolex belonged to my father. Judge Franklin finally looked at him. The Rolex that you bought in 2021 for $50,000 using money from the joint account? That Rolex? Silence. Because according to the records that Mrs. Hayes-Ashford kindly provided, your father passed away in 1987, before that watch model existed. The gallery stifled laughter. Trevor turned red. It's a replica, in tribute, a $50,000 replica. The judge nodded. Creative, but it's not going with you. Clothes, only clothes. And my gold cufflinks, are they gold? Gold-plated. Then they're not gold, they're fake, like almost everything in your life. The judge banged the gavel. Clothes, final decision. Trevor pointed at her. You can't. Contempt. The judge didn't even blink. Officer, escort the gentleman out. A burly officer approached. I have rights. You had them. The judge flipped through papers calmly. Past tense. You lost them when you confessed to fraud under oath. Officer? The officer grabbed Trevor's arm. Get your hands off me. You'll hear from my lawyer. Which lawyer? Patricia asked quietly. The one who ran away yesterday. Trevor was literally dragged toward the door, shoes scraping the wooden floor, tie crooked, hair disheveled. Patricia, we can talk. Patricia waved. Goodbye, Trevor. It was educational. Diana from the gallery raised her voice. Very educational. I learned that you're an idiot. Thanks for the lesson. The door slammed. Silence. Judge Franklin cleared her throat. Continuing. Legal costs of the proceedings, $12,000, including court, transcripts, and expert testimony. Paid in full by Mr. Ashford. The door opened. Trevor tried to enter again. I don't have money for... Officer. The door closed. Again, the judge continued as if nothing had happened. You do have it, Mr. Ashford. $2.3 million in the Shell LLC. The IRS has already been notified and will begin recovery proceedings. Mrs. Hayes-Ashford will receive complete compensation for the diverted funds. Patricia blinked. Complete? Complete, plus punitive damages in the amount of $200,000 for documented emotional distress. At the door, a dull thud was heard. What was that? The judge asked. The officer opened the door. He fainted, Your Honor. Oh, the judge waved. Give him water. He needs to be conscious for the rest. There's more? Patricia's eyes widened. There is. The judge closed one folder and opened another. This case is being referred to the FBI, Financial Crimes Division. Patricia gripped the table. Possible charges: bank fraud, money laundering, federal document forgery, and identity theft. The judge looked at Patricia. Estimated sentence, if convicted, 4 to 8 years in federal prison. Silence. Trevor was carried inside by 2 officers, still dizzy, water dripping down his face. Mr. Ashford, are you awake? What, FBI? Federal prison, 4 to 8 years. Did you understand? Trevor fainted again. Leave him on the floor. The judge sighed. He'll wake up when he wakes up. The gallery was in silent shock. Patricia was in silent shock. Even Diana was in silent shock. Judge Franklin took off her glasses and looked directly at Patricia. Mrs. Hayes-Ashford. Yes, Your Honor. In 20 years of my career, I've presided over hundreds of cases. Divorces, custody disputes, estate battles. She paused. I've never seen a pro se defense like yours. Patricia didn't know what to say. You cited case law correctly. You presented evidence in an organized manner. You refuted objections with technical knowledge that many licensed attorneys don't have. The judge almost smiled. Have you considered studying law officially? Patricia straightened her shoulders. I studied, Your Honor, for 4 years, 4,380 hours, alone, with library books and a cat that didn't help but kept me company. And the degree? I don't need a degree. Patricia looked at Trevor, unconscious on the floor. I needed justice, and I got it. Judge Franklin smiled. For real this time. You sure did. She banged the gavel. Court dismissed. The room started to empty. Patricia stayed seated, processing, breathing, counting. 3, 6, 9. Officers carried Trevor out. The gallery emptied. Clerks gathered papers, and then there were only 2 people left. Patricia at the table, Diana coming down from the gallery. Her mother's footsteps echoed in the empty courtroom. She stopped beside her daughter, stayed silent for a long moment. You didn't need me. Patricia looked at her, eyes full of tears. I did. No, you defended yourself alone. Every argument, every piece of evidence, every moment, it was you. But you came. Patricia stood up. You sat there. She pointed to the gallery. For 2 days, and let me fight. You didn't try to take over, didn't try to fix things, you just stayed. Diana swallowed hard. I didn't deserve to stay, but you did. A tear rolling down, and that was everything. Silence. Diana took a deep breath. When she spoke, her voice was shaky. 8 years ago, I told you that you didn't have the head for law. Pause. I was wrong. You have the best head. Better than mine. Better than any lawyer I've ever known. Patricia sobbed. You just counted differently. Diana touched her daughter's face, and I was too limited to understand that different doesn't mean wrong. The hug came without warning. 8 years of distance dissolving in a single moment. I counted, Patricia whispered on her mother's shoulder. Every day without you. 2,922 days. Diana held her tighter. Do you remember? I remember everything, Mom. Everything. I know. Diana closed her eyes. Now I know. They stayed like that for a long time, in the empty courtroom, where justice had been done and where something broken was finally starting to be fixed. But the story wasn't over yet. Because somewhere in Charleston, in a house with 847 books and a cat, someone was waiting for Patricia, and she had no idea. Patricia drove home on autopilot. Familiar streets, known curves, everything the same, but completely different. Because now it was her house. She parked in front, turned off the engine, stared at the front for a long moment, and then her gaze drifted to the house next door. Oliver Hartley was on the porch. Beige cardigan despite the heat, teacup on the table, book on his lap, and something spotted, furry and very familiar curled up at his feet. Patricia blinked again. The cat lifted its head, ears alert, and then, with the agility of an animal that clearly forgot its age, jumped from the porch and ran toward her. Stumbled twice on the way, because it was old, but kept running. Patricia got out of the car with shaky legs. Devin? The cat meowed, loud, indignant, as if saying, Where were you? Devin? She fell to her knees on the lawn. The cat jumped into her lap, rubbed its head against her chin, purred so loud that probably the neighbors on the other block heard it. But you. Patricia looked at Oliver, who was calmly coming down from the porch. How is he? Alive? Oliver adjusted his glasses. It's a long story, and it requires tea, lots of tea. I thought he had. Patricia couldn't form sentences. Devin kept purring, kept rubbing, kept gloriously, impossibly alive. I know what you thought. Oliver stopped in front of her, extended his hand to help her up. And I should have told you before, but there were circumstances. Patricia accepted the hand, got up. Devin still in her lap, refusing to let go. I saw in the paper, Oliver said, changing the subject with the awkward grace typical of him. Woman destroys billionaire with 47 folders. I thought it was an understatement. Patricia laughed, or cried, probably both. There were at least 50 folders. The paper didn't count right. Journalists, Oliver shook his head. Never count right. Come in, you need tea and explanations, in that order. Patricia followed him to the house next door, the house she had seen thousands of times but had never entered. The door opened, and she stopped. Books. Books everywhere. On shelves, on tables, stacked on the floor, organized by, she tilted her head, by color? No. By size? Also no. By smell, Oliver said, noticing her look. Old books have different smells. Paper from the 1940s is different from paper from the 1960s. It's a science. How many books do you have? 847. Patricia frowned. That's not a multiple of 3. No, Oliver smiled, but it's 29 squared, equally satisfying. She looked at him. He looked at her, and something clicked. You count, she whispered, obsessively. He went to the kitchen. Tea? The kitchen was a sanctuary of precision. every utensil in its exact place, every jar labeled. Patricia felt a strange familiarity, like finding a mirror she didn't know existed. Oliver put water on to boil. He took a porcelain teapot from a cabinet. He measured tea leaves with a specific spoon, and then he grabbed a timer. Patricia blinked. You're timing the tea? Obviously. Oliver adjusted the timer. 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Less weak, more bitter. Precision is art. You count tea time. Constantly. He watched the timer with the intensity of a scientist monitoring a nuclear reaction. I also count pages edited per day. Average, 47. Teacups consumed 7. Times your ex was unbearable through the wall. Dramatic pause. I stopped at 400. It got depressing to continue. Patricia let out a surprised laugh. You counted Trevor being an idiot? Meticulously. I considered making a chart, bars organized by type of idiocy, but it seemed, he thought, obsessive. I have a chart of his lies. Oliver looked at her with something close to admiration. So you're more obsessive than me. Good to know. Adjusts expectations. The timer beeped. Oliver served the tea with precise movements. He handed Patricia a cup. Floral porcelain. Delicate. Probably older than her. Patricia held the cup. She looked at the amber liquid. I've never had real tea. Oliver froze. What do you mean, never had tea? Trevor said it was a waste of time. That coffee was more efficient. Oliver made an expression that could only be described as deep British horror. That's criminally negligent. Criminally. He pointed to the cup. Drink. Now we're correcting years of culinary abuse. Patricia drank. It was good. Surprisingly good. Warm. Comforting. Like a liquid hug. Verdict? Oliver asked anxiously. Why didn't I know this existed? Because you were married to a barbarian. Oliver sat in the chair beside her. Devon jumped on his lap, then on hers, then back on his. Undecided. Barbarians don't appreciate tea. Universal rule. They sat in silence for a moment, comfortable. Patricia looking around. 847 books, each one in the right place. Oliver? Yes? Why didn't you ever say anything? She lowered the cup. About Trevor. About what you saw. Oliver looked at his own tea. Because you were married. His voice was quiet. And British people don't interfere. Social code. Very strong. Almost impossible to break. But you saw. I saw. He didn't deny it. I saw you crying at the window. 2:14 in the morning. August 7th, 2021. Patricia held her breath. And September 19th and October 3rd. And he stopped. I saw you studying. Light on. Late nights. 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Law books stacked up. Notes on colored sticky notes. He finally looked at her. I thought, she's planning something. I know, a sad smile, and I was proud and terrified and hopeful, all at the same time. It's an uncomfortable combination. Devon purred between them, oblivious to the gravity of the moment, focused on getting petted. 3 years ago, Oliver began, his voice lower now. You knocked on my door, 2:13 a.m. Yes, I noted the time. You were barefoot, crying, locked out of your house. Patricia remembered, vaguely. That night was a blur of cold and despair. I opened the door, made tea, gave you a blanket. Devon sat on your lap. He swallowed hard. And I realized something. What? Oliver raised his eyes, brown, kind, full of something she hadn't been allowed to recognize before. That I would do anything so you'd never cry again. The air stopped. But you were married, and I'm British, and British people don't interfere. So I stayed, waiting. A tear ran down his face. He didn't wipe it away. For 3 years, taking care of your cat when you traveled. Leaving tea at your door with notes you probably thought were strange. Watching you from afar become a warrior. Patricia was crying now too, silently. And today, Oliver took a deep breath. Today you don't need me to protect you anymore. You protected yourself, alone, with 47 folders and photographic memory and an impressive amount of determination. He smiled, shaky, but real. And I'm devastatingly proud. That's the only word that describes it, devastatingly. Silence. Devon purred louder, as if trying to break the tension. Oliver, you don't need to say anything. He raised his hand. You just got out of a horrible marriage. You need time, space, therapy probably. I certainly would. Oliver? And I'm not asking for anything, I swear, I'm just saying that. He looked at the cup, at Devon, anywhere but at her. If eventually, when you're ready, if you're ever ready, you want company. He finally looked at her. I'm still here, waiting, with tea and cat and 847 books organized by smell. Patricia let out a wet laugh. You would wait? I've already waited 3 years. He shrugged. What are a few more? I have books, I have patience, I have a concerning amount of tea. She looked at him, at the house full of books, at Devon on his lap, purring, alive, real. Why is Devon here? The question she'd been avoiding. How is he? Trevor said he ran away 3 years ago. Oliver went very quiet. That's the part of the story that requires more tea. He got up, went to the kitchen, came back with the teapot, filled the cups again, and then sat down. Devon didn't run away, Patricia. She froze. In March 2019, 2 a.m., I saw Trevor putting Devon in a carrier, putting the carrier in the car. Driving. What? I followed him. I don't know why. Instinct. Maybe obsession. Oliver looked at Devon. He was going to abandon Devon on a road 30 miles from here. I intercepted. Patricia couldn't breathe. I took Devon, brought him here, and kept it secret. For 3 years. Why didn't you tell me? Because Trevor still lived next door. Oliver looked at her seriously. If he knew that I had Devon, if he found out that I knew what he tried to do, what do you think he would have done? To Devon? To you? Silence. The realization fell like a weight. He would have. Yes, Oliver didn't need to finish. So I waited, kept the secret, took care of Devon, and hoped that someday you'd be free and safe. Devon meowed, as if confirming the story. Patricia looked at the cat, at Oliver, at the 847 books, and started crying for real. Oliver didn't move to comfort her. Didn't try to hug her, just stayed there, present, waiting, like he always had. Thank you, she managed to say between sobs, for saving him, for waiting, for everything. Oliver smiled, gentle, patient. You would have done the same if positions were reversed. You don't know that. Yes, I do. I watched you for 3 years. I know exactly who you are. He lifted his cup, and who you are deserved to be saved. Except in the end, you saved yourself, which is much more impressive. Patricia looked at him, at the man who had waited, who had kept secrets, who had protected Devon when she couldn't. Oliver? Yes? I don't know when I'll be ready. It might take a while. I know. It might take a long time. I know it might never happen. Oliver nodded. I know that too, and that's okay. Genuinely. He took a sip of tea. But in the meantime, do you want dinner? I cook terribly, but with a lot of love. Patricia laughed. You cook badly? Disastrously. I once burned water. Don't ask how. Physics is still confused. She looked at Devon, at Oliver, at the house that smelled of old books and fresh tea. Okay, she said. Dinner would be nice. Oliver smiled, and for the first time in a long time, Patricia felt something she'd forgotten existed. Hope. But while Oliver went to the kitchen, probably to burn something with love, Devon jumped from her lap and went to a box in the corner of the room. A box with a label. For Patricia, when you're ready. She looked at the box, then at Oliver in the kitchen, then at the box again. Oliver? What is this? He froze with a pan in his hand. Oh, that. Long pause. That's another conversation for another tea. Patricia looked at the mysterious box and realized that Oliver's story had more layers than she'd imagined. Many more layers. 2 weeks after the court victory, Patricia Hayes-Ashford was sitting in Charleston's fanciest restaurant, aligning silverware for the 3rd time. 20 minutes early. As always, the knife was 2 millimeters crooked. This was unacceptable. There, she whispered, adjusting the fork to form a perfect 90-degree angle with the table edge. Much better. The waiter appeared, set down the menu, misaligned the silverware. Patricia fixed it. The waiter brought water. Misaligned again. Patricia fixed it again. The waiter placed the wineglass, touched the knife, misaligned for the 3rd time. Patricia took a deep breath. Fixed it for the 3rd time. Are you all right, ma'am? The waiter looked genuinely concerned. Perfectly. It's the silverware that wasn't. He backed away slowly, like someone backing away from a wild animal. The restaurant door opened. Diana Hayes walked in. Right on time. Not a minute early, not a minute late. Perfect gray suit, posture of a general, expression of someone who'd rather be anywhere else on the planet. She sat across from Patricia, looked at the table, and automatically adjusted her own silverware. Patricia froze. You do that too? Diana looked at her own hands as if she'd been caught doing something embarrassing. Always, since I was a child. Pause. You inherited it from someone. The two looked at each other and laughed. It wasn't a comfortable laugh. It was strange, awkward, like two people who had forgotten how to laugh together and were relearning. The waiter came back, cautious. Would you like some bread? Yes, Diana said. How many? 12, Patricia and Diana said at the same time. The waiter blinked. 12 pieces of bread for 2 people? Diana adjusted her napkin. She counts in multiples of 3. I count in multiples of 4. 12 is the least common multiple. Family math. The waiter looked from one to the other. He wrote down 12 breads with the expression of someone who just witnessed something he's going to tell his coworkers in the kitchen. 12 pieces of bread. Right? I'll be back in a moment. He walked away quickly. Patricia watched him go. He thinks we're crazy. Probably. Diana picked up the menu. Are we? I don't know. You're a prosecutor. I destroyed my ex-husband with 47 folders organized by color. Patricia shrugged. Crazy is relative. 47 folders. Diana almost smiled. I would have used 48, multiple of 4. 48 wasn't visually satisfying. The colors didn't match. Ah, of course, obviously. Silence. The kind of silence that happens when 2 people have 8 years of unspoken words and don't know where to start. The bread arrived. 12. Exactly 12. Neither of them touched it. Patricia took a deep breath. Why did you come back? Diana looked up from the menu. Because you called. What if I hadn't called? Silence. Long. Heavy. Diana didn't answer. Exactly. Patricia felt her throat tighten. 8 years, Mom. 8 years. And you only came back because I called. You have every right to be angry. I'm more than angry. Patricia searched for the word, devastated, confused, relieved that you came, furious that it took so long, all at the same time. Diana put the menu on the table. I deserve to be alone. I know that. Every day for the past 8 years I've known. She swallowed hard. But you didn't deserve to be alone too. And I didn't know how to come back. You could have called. And said what? Diana finally looked into her daughter's eyes. Sorry for saying you didn't have what it takes for law? Sorry for pushing you into a horrible marriage? Sorry for 8 years of silence? It would have been a start. It would have been insufficient. Diana shook her head. There's no apology for 8 years. No magic phrase. I looked for one. Believe me, I looked. Patricia gripped her napkin. You told me I didn't have what it takes for law, and I proved I did. In court, in front of a judge. Without a degree, without help. I know, but it still hurts. Patricia's voice cracked. Even after proving it, even after winning, your voice is still in my head saying I can't do it. 8 years later, it's still there. Diana closed her eyes. I know. You know a lot, but you don't do anything about it. Because there's nothing I can do. Diana opened her eyes. Bright, wet. I can't go back in time. I can't undo the words. I can only try, from now on, if you'll let me. The waiter appeared again. Ready to order? No, both said together. He backed away. I'll come back later. Silence again. Patricia counted. 3, 6, 9. I don't know if I can forgive yet. I understand. It might take time. I have time. It might never happen. Diana nodded slowly. That's a risk I accept because the alternative is not trying. And not trying means losing you again. And her voice broke. I've already lost too much. Patricia looked at her mother. At the woman she had admired, feared, loved, and hated in equal parts her entire life. You cried in court when the judge read the verdict. I did. I'd never seen you cry. Diana wiped away a tear that escaped now. I prioritized 300 cases before you, convicted 89% of the criminals, perfect rate. She let out a bitter laugh. But I lost 100% of my chances with my daughter. Terrible math, and I'm good at math. Mom, I looked at you and saw weakness. Diana continued, as if she needed to get it all out at once. Saw the counting, the organizing, the conversations with furniture. And I thought, I need to fix this. She's broken and I need to fix her. Tears streaming. But you never needed to be fixed, Patricia. You just needed to be seen, and I was too blind to see. Patricia felt her own tears falling. I tried to be what you wanted. For years I tried. I married a man who also wanted to fix me. Because if you thought I was broken, I must be. Diana reached across the table, hesitant, uncertain. You were never broken. You were always whole, complex, brilliant, different, and different scared me. She swallowed hard. I was the limited one, not you. Patricia looked at the outstretched hand, 3 breaths, 6 breaths, 9, and took it. The touch was strange, unknown. They hadn't touched in 8 years, but it was real. I don't know if I can forgive you, Patricia said quietly. I know, but I can try, slowly. Diana squeezed her hand. Slowly is perfect. Slowly I accept. The waiter came back, saw the two holding hands, crying over the untouched bread basket. He retreated silently. "He definitely thinks we're crazy now," Patricia said, sniffling. "Definitely." Diana tried to smile, "But at least we're crazy together." It wasn't a perfect happy ending. It wasn't instant reconciliation. It was uncomfortable, strange, full of unresolved things. But it was a beginning, an honest beginning. And sometimes, honest beginnings are better than perfect endings. Diana let go of Patricia's hand and picked up a roll. "So, tell me about the neighbor." Patricia choked on her water. "What neighbor?" "The British one. The one taking care of the cat that should have been lost for 3 years." Diana bit into the roll calmly. "Yes, I know. I'm a retired prosecutor. Investigating is what I do." Patricia turned red. "There's nothing to tell." "Patricia, I know your lying face. You inherited that from me too." Silence. "He makes tea," Patricia mumbled. "Tea?" "Timed, 3 minutes and 30 seconds, with a timer." Diana smiled. Really smiled this time. "Does he count?" "Obsessively." "Interesting." Diana picked up another roll. "Very interesting." And Patricia realized that, despite everything, maybe some things could be fixed. Slowly. But fixed. 6 months later, the sign in front of the workshop gleamed under the Charleston sun. Hayes Restoration, Antique Furniture and Stories Preserved. Patricia Hayes-Ashford ran her hand over the wood of the sign. Oak, 1952, restored by herself. Grandpa would have approved. The workshop occupied the old shed behind the house, her house now, free of Trevor, free of debts, free of ghosts. 3 employees worked at the benches. 12 projects in progress. A waiting list of clients that grew every week. Everything organized. By color, by urgency, by wood smell. Some habits don't change, nor do they need to. "Patricia?" Oliver's voice came from the door connecting the 2 houses, a door they had installed last month because going around front is inefficient. "Tea is ready, and Devon ate your sandwich, again." She turned. Oliver was standing in the doorway, beige cardigan despite Charleston's heat, cup in hand, with the expression of someone who had accepted that cats are professional thieves. "Was it my sandwich?" "It was. Now it's feline property." He showed no remorse. Actually, he seemed proud. Patricia laughed. 6 months of laughter. 6 months of shared dinners. 6 months of Devon moving between the 2 houses as if they were one. Because, in a way, they were. "Come." Oliver extended his hand. "I have something to show you, and it's not Devon sleeping in a weird position, this time." She followed him to the house next door, the house of 47 books, now 852, because Patricia had contributed some and Oliver couldn't stop buying. On the living room table, an envelope, large, official, with the Charleston Law School seal. Patricia froze. "Oliver, when did this arrive?" "This morning. I was waiting for you to finish work to deliver it." He smiled. "Open it." Patricia took the envelope, hands trembling. 3 months ago, on a night of tea and conversation, Oliver had asked a simple question. "Why don't you study law officially?" And she had answered, "What for? I've already proven I know it." And he had said, "Not to prove. For you. Because you like it. Because your eyes light up when you talk about jurisprudence. Because you deserve to do something for pleasure, not for survival." She had cried that night. And the next morning, she had applied. Now the result was in her hands. She opened the envelope. "Read. Read again." Accepted. Her voice was a whisper. "Partial merit scholarship, evening classes, starting in September." Oliver smiled. "I know. I may have accidentally seen through the seal when the letter arrived. British vision, very sharp." "You opened my letter?" "No, just held it up to the light, by accident." 3 times. Patricia laughed, crying at the same time. "Evening classes. I can continue at the workshop during the day." "Exactly. And I can help you study at night. I have editing experience. I can review your papers." "Do you want to review law papers?" "I want to do anything that involves spending time with you." Oliver shrugged. "Besides, I learn new things. My books are all literature. I need to diversify." Devon appeared. Jumped on the couch, made it this time. Looked at both of them with the typical superiority of someone who mastered gravity. "He's getting better," Patricia observed. "Only missed 4 times today. Personal record." "Progress." "Lots of progress." Patricia placed the letter on the table. Looked around. At the books. At Devon. At Oliver, who was watching her with that look she was still learning to accept. The look of someone who really saw her. "Oliver?" "Yes?" "Thank you for encouraging me to do this." You didn't need encouragement, you just needed someone to tell you that you could want things for yourself. He moved closer. You spent 5 years with someone who told you what you couldn't do. I want to be the opposite. You already are. The kiss came naturally, like the last 3 months of kisses had been. There was no rush, no drama, just two people who had found each other after waiting too long. Devon meowed, interrupting, as always. He has terrible timing, Oliver murmured. He has perfect timing for him, which is what matters in his head. Devon jumped off the couch, tripped on the rug, pretended it was intentional. Patricia laughed. I need to call my mom, tell her about college. Will she cry? Probably. But they're progress tears now. We're practicing emotions together, every 2 weeks, with tea. She still thinks timing it is strange, but she's accepting it. Your mom is learning to time tea? She's learning to accept that different people work in different ways. The tea is a bonus. Oliver smiled. Progress. Lots of progress. She picked up the phone. Dialed. Diana answered on the second ring, because Diana Hayes was punctual even in answering calls. Mom, I got accepted. Charleston Law School, night program, starting in September. Silence on the other end. Then Diana's voice, strangely thick. I knew you would be. You knew? You destroyed a $200 an hour lawyer with 47 folders and a cat as legal assistant. A college would be stupid not to accept you. Patricia laughed. Devon didn't help that much. Devon provided emotional support. That counts. In the background, Oliver was making tea, timed, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Devon was trying to steal cookies from the jar. Mom? Yes? Thank you for everything for the last 6 months for trying. Silence. Then, I should have tried 8 years ago, but at least I'm trying now. Pause. I'm proud of you, Patricia. I always have been. I just didn't know how to say it. I know, Mom. I know. Hung up. Oliver appeared with 2 cups. Perfect tea, as always. Did she cry? Almost. She's getting better at holding back, or showing. I don't know which. Both, probably. Patricia took the cup, sat on the couch. Oliver sat beside her. Devon jumped on her lap, then his, then between both of them, unable to decide. Oliver? Yes? How will it be? When I start college? What do you mean? I'll have classes at night, work during the day, weekends studying. I'll be busy. Very busy. Oliver took a sip of tea. And, you don't mind? Why would I mind? He looked at her, genuinely confused. You'll be 2 blocks away, studying something you love, fulfilling a dream, and I'll be here with tea ready when you come back. Every day? Every day, he smiled. I can review your papers, make flashcards, time your study sessions. I'm excellent at timing things. I know, you even time tea steeping. Precision is important. Devon purred between them. Finally comfortable. Finally home. Patricia looked out the window, at the shop with Grandpa's sign, at the house that was hers, at the future she had built with organized folders and quiet determination. Oliver? Yes? I love you. The words came out simple. No folder, no color coding, no organization. Just truth. Oliver placed his cup on the table, turned to her, his brown eyes shining in a way she never got tired of seeing. I know. I love you too. Since the night you knocked on my door 3 years ago, barefoot and crying. He touched her face. I was just waiting for you to be ready to hear it. What if I was never ready? I would have waited anyway, he shrugged. British people are patient and stubborn, dangerous combination. She laughed, cried a little, both at the same time. Devon meowed, demanding attention. He wants to be part of the moment, Oliver observed. He always wants to be part of every moment. That's fair. He introduced us, technically. Technically, Trevor introduced us, while trying to abandon Devon. So should we thank Trevor? Absolutely not. I agree. Terrible idea. Forget I suggested it. They laughed together. Devon purred louder, as if laughing too. And in the house next door, Hayes' restoration workshop waited for the next workday. And at Charleston Law School, a chair waited for a student who had studied 4,380 hours alone and was now going to learn officially. And on the couch, between books organized by smell and timed teacups, 2 people who counted too many things had finally found someone who understood. Patricia Hayes-Ashford had lost a lot in recent years, but she had found even more. A workshop, a mother, a stubborn cat, and a British man who made perfect tea and would wait 300 years if he had to. Sometimes the best endings aren't the perfect ones. They're the honest ones. And this one? This was just the beginning. Because Patricia Hayes-Ashford now felt good. Not good despite everything, just good. With her habits, with her counting, with her conversations with furniture and folders organized by color. She had spent 5 years thinking she needed to be fixed. Now she understood. She was never broken. She was just waiting to find herself. And as she looked out the window, at Grandpa's workshop running, at Oliver making tea, at Devon sleeping in the sun, she thought beyond law school. She thought about pro bono cases for women in situations similar to hers. She thought about a foundation named after her grandfather. She thought about teaching other people that different doesn't mean wrong. She thought about everything she could build now that she finally believed in herself. Trevor Ashford had tried to destroy her for 5 years. And without meaning to, he had created a warrior who counted in multiples of 3, talked to mahogany tables, and had 47 folders organized by evidence severity. A warrior who now knew her habits weren't weaknesses, they were strengths, and she was just beginning to use them. Today we learned that we should never underestimate a person because of their habits, because what seems like weakness might be their greatest strength. If you felt this too, leave in the comments the rating you would give. And if you believe that everyone needs to learn to respect those who are different, subscribe to the channel.